Welcome to Rays Sunday Baseball, brought to you all season long by Hyundai. This afternoon, the Rays continue their series against the Baltimore Orioles. Game 3 of the 4-game series. Just one home game remaining in the regular season after today. The American League wild card. Wild is right. The Rays up by a 1.5 game over the Cleveland Indians. Cleveland trying to fight off Texas, New York, Baltimore, and Kansas City. Hi again, everyone, and welcome to an afternoon of Rays baseball with Brian Anderson, Dwayne Stats. Great to have you aboard. We'll be hearing from Todd Callis in just a moment. Well, the Rays have taken the first 2 games of this series from Baltimore, BA, and when the Rays offense was clicking on all cylinders, truly that, they were getting contributions up and down the lineup. Yesterday, it was reminiscent of that when Desmond Jennings step forward.
What a dynamic player for this Rays team who has it rolling right now. You look over his last 4 games, he's 7 out of 15. We know him for his speed. You think about him getting on the base paths, being able to score runs, but he has been flashing the power and productive swing lately because 4 out of those 7 hits, as you see right there, have gone for extra bases. He's driven in 6, he's scored 3. This is a guy, when he gets it rolling, he can really be a headache for opposing offenses because when he does get on base, now you do have to worry about him, and that opens up good pitches for the guys hitting behind him in the lineup.
You know, 6 years ago when the Rays thought about becoming contenders, how do you do that? Organizational depth. We're going to see another element of that organizational depth here this afternoon at Tropicana Field. The young left-hander, Romero, will make his major league debut. The Rays need a starter for today. They dip into their minor league system. More on the young left-hander in a moment.
Early, alone in his thoughts on the bench, getting ready for, to this point, the biggest start of his career, his major league debut. He's only made 1 start above the AA level. That came September 2nd for the Durham Bulls, and he faced the AAA affiliate of the Baltimore Orioles in that game and went 8 shutout innings. In fact, knocked Norfolk out of their postseason aspirations with that loss. Also pitched out of the bullpen in the playoffs on September 13th, but has not made a start in 20 days, that 8-inning start against Norfolk. What to expect today? Well, we asked one of his compatriots in the pitching rotation, Chris Archer. Here's his thoughts.
You're going to see a lot of similarities from the 2011 debut of Matt Moore. Just high-octane fastball, great off-speed stuff. He's a competitor. You might see some animation out there.
Kind of like you.
Yeah, he might have a little bit of me in him.
So he's like a marcher.
And the thoughts from number 22. And how about this? On September 22nd, the Major League first starts for David Price and also Matt Moore. 5-year anniversary of Price's first start against Baltimore. 2-year anniversary of Matt Moore. Double-digit strikeouts in 5 innings in that brilliant first start at Yankee Stadium. So it's another lefty debut on September 22nd. In 3 minutes and 35 seconds, Joe Madden said he hopes for 4, maybe 5 innings out of the young man. Again, he has not started since September 2nd. He's ready to go. So are we. It's time for baseball on Raymond's birthday. All the mascots are in town, and we'll have the first pitch in 3 minutes and 15 seconds, including a late change in the Rays lineup without Evan Longoria.
Off this series in style. Have kicked off this series in style. Red-hot Desmond Jennings and Ben Zobrist trying to keep up the mojo and keep Rays fans dancing in the aisles. So let your inner animal out. It's the final Sunday at the Trop, and we've got it all right here on Sun Sports. 154 games in. 8 left to play in the regular season. And a young left-hander, 22-year-old Eddie Romero, prepares to stride toward the mound and lead the Tampa Bay Rays into Game 3 in this series against the Baltimore Orioles. You can only imagine what might be going through his mind and the emotion that he carries with him to the mound.
Well, the one thing that he's going to have to do is manage the emotions. That's anybody making their Major League debut, especially if you're a starting pitcher. And if you're asking who is Enny Romero, let's take a look. Most of his starts, he did have one start in AAA, but the majority of the season spent in AA Montgomery. You see the numbers are outstanding. The fastball, high-octane fastball, he will use it to both sides of the plate. Also, the curveball is his next best pitch, come along with a changeup. The changeup right now, an average, maybe a slightly above average pitch. You know that's going to continue to get better and better within this organization. He will cut the ball from time to time. I think you'll probably see him, for the most part, stay with the big three. The key factor will be the command. He is about a 4.5 walks per 9 inning guy as a minor leaguer, but this is one of those, when the stars are aligned, if the command is there and the curveball is spinning out of his hand right, this guy can absolutely dominate.
Here is the lineup he will face today, put together by Buck Showalter. Manny Machado back up in the leadoff spot. Adam Jones second. Chris Davis hitting third. The DH against the left-hander is Danny Valencia. Matt Wieters will catch. J.J. Hardy at shortstop. Nick Markakis in right. Michael Morse, the left fielder, hits eighth. And Brian Roberts at second base will bat ninth. Romero spent most of the year at AA Montgomery. He went 11-7 there in 27 starts. One start at Durham. That was on the 2nd of September. So 20 days between starts. He did make a relief appearance. First pitch of Romero's Major League career. Fouled out of play up the right side by Manny Machado. First pitch today brought to you by Pinch a Penny. So our game is underway. That fastball came in at 93 from Romero. 2-2. Peter again, this time up to 95.
Now, Enny Romero, 6'3". He's tall. He's lanky. You see a lot of arm whip, high leg.
Ground ball right side, and that's going to slip through just out of the reach of Zobrist. 0-2. Machado takes a fastball the other way.
Well, Manny Machado, the third fastball after missing the first two, for fouling off the first, missing the second, just gets the bat head out there, and you can see cut down on the swing, ball in the same general area. He just finds an open hole.
Here's Adam Jones. Carries his 32 home runs and over 100 RBIs to the plate. 106 for the year. Jones drove in the lone run for Baltimore yesterday. Fouls the fastball back out of play for a strike.
You can see Baltimore Orioles have not seen Romero, obviously. And so keeping it simple right now, trying to get his feet underneath him, get command of that fastball. You see 4 straight fastballs down and away, not trying to get too cute yet.
One and one. 10th different starter for the Rays in 2013. It's the highest number since 06 when they utilized 12 starting pitchers. 2-1 to Jones. Pretty amazing when you go back to the World Series year in 2008. Since then, the Rays have only used 20 different starters, the fewest number in the major leagues. Cut and a miss. Not at 96. Big fastball from Romero and a big swing and a miss by Jones.
Well, and they just continue to produce quality starters. You know, big time stuff. Romero, just a youngster, getting his opportunity today. I mean, the majority of the season, almost all of the season at AA. Last year he was in Port Charlotte playing for the Stone Crabs.
Fly ball right field. Myers toward the line, and he's got it. That's the first out.
Well, let's take a quick look at the Rays defense as it lines up this afternoon. In the outfield, left to right, DeJesus, Jennings, and Myers. Across the infield, third to first, Johnson, Escobar, Zobrist, and Loney. Jose Lobaton behind the plate.
There's Chris Davis. 51 home runs for Davis. Cut to miss. Or hard stuff. Davis with 93 extra base hits. That establishes a Baltimore Orioles club record, previously held by Brady Anderson back when he had that big home run year. 96. Ground ball skipping by the mound, picked up by Escobar. Throw to first, the scoop there, and the Rays get two. How about that? Well, apparently Romero's got a great double play pitch as well.
Unbelievable.
He got a little piece of that one.
Yes, he did. And that ball was bouncing funny, too, to Escobar. Watch this. The bare hand. Oops.
The old 1-6-3 double play. Romero getting through the top half of the first, giving up a base hit. 1 out later, throwing the double play ball. The Rays had the shift in the perfect place. Here is the lineup put together by Joe Madden today. David DeJesus leads off again with Desmond Jennings second and Ben Zobrist third. Evan Longoria originally in this lineup, but scratched because of flu-like symptoms. He's been a little under the weather the last few days, so Matt Joyce hits cleanup the DH. Followed by Will Myers, James Loney. Kelly Johnson goes in to play third and hits seventh. Jose Lobaton will do the catching, and Yunel Escobar at shortstop.
Taking the mound this afternoon for the Baltimore Orioles. His season numbers brought to you by Coventry Healthcare of Florida is right-hander Scott Feldman, making his 14th start as a member of the Orioles, and he has been a nice pickup for Buck Showalter in this ball club. You see the numbers there, 5-4, 3.51. He's been very good in his last 7 starts, where he has a 3-1 record and an ERA of under 2 at 1.77, and an opponent's batting average of 175.
So he's given the Orioles a lift in an area where they could use it in that rotation. Tall right-hander. First pitch to David DeJesus is a strike call. DeJesus hitting .267 in a Rays uniform. Thrilled to be in the postseason hunt. 0-2.
The boost it must be for a player. You know, David DeJesus is playing up in Chicago. The Cubs are not having a very good season at all. You're not going anywhere, but you're a professional. You go out there, you play hard because you have pride in your game with the team that you're, and then all of a sudden the call comes and you're going to a pennant race.
And here he is leading off. He's contributed already. And he has great numbers lifetime against Feldman. 6 of 11 with a home run.
Now this is a guy that fits the Rays mold. Good character guy. You know, big time hustle, good effort guy, on base percentage, veteran. Well, maybe the veteran doesn't fit the Rays mold, but it's nice to have a few of those. That's right. That's right.
Every once in a while. Joe Madden's club now has won 7 of 10 after that slide. The Rays up in the wild card race by a half game. Went right down to the wire. Jesus battling Feldman, fouls it away. Feldman certainly not overpowering, but he has a variety of pitches and will throw some ground balls.
He's a veteran. He's going to pound the zone. He has a good idea of what he's doing out there, game plan wise. Going to move the ball around. You said one of the big pitches for him, especially against these left-handed hitters, is going to be the cutter. Really uses that pitch effectively to try to miss the barrel of the bat, get balls off the label, off the handle. Sink it away, cut it in.
Well, that's the old, if you can make the ball move in 2 different directions, you got a shot at success.
It's that old phrase, oh, a sinker slider guy. Yeah, you can envision it. The ball's going, is it going this way? Is it cutting, you know?
Yeah.
And you're absolutely right, coming out of the same plane. That's all you're trying to do too, is get a hitter out of rhythm, put some doubt in his mind.
And there's ball 3, so DeJesus has worked the count all the way out after getting behind. Rays have gone 11-6 against Baltimore this year, winning 9 out of their last 11 against Baltimore. And a little pop foul right back this way and just above us. So another foul ball. It forces the 9th pitch of this at bat to start the lineup here against Feldman. Love to see the leadoff hitter see this many pitches. And he'll see one more.
Another way that he brings value. You know, DeJesus is another one of those guys. He's going to take his shots and, you know, go out there and try to ambush guys, but he'll work a good at bat. That's what you'd like to see from this lineup, up and down. This type of year, you're down to a week to go in the season. Don't give up any at-bats. Everybody lock it in, just like you see this team do when they're down late. And they really start to grind at-bats and make it tough on opposing pitchers.
The defense swung around to the right side, playing DeJesus to pull against Feldman. And he pulls this one high and deep to right. That ball is gone. Home run for David DeJesus. Rays jump out in front on the home run by DeJesus on the 10th pitch of that at bat.
The more pitches you see, you start to get comfortable with movement, arm angle, release point, all of that. David DeJesus has already had a good amount of success against Feldman anyway, and then he gets a center cut fastball on pitch number 10. And you talk about pulling it with authority.
His first Rays home run puts him out in front here in game 3 of this series. Desmond Jennings takes a strike. Big smile there. He talks it over with the young slugger Will Myers.
Boy, that could be huge too. In this series, you had a team that got in late, 4 a.m. arrival time coming in from Boston. Plays 18-inning games. Most of the regulars play the whole game. A quick turnaround, and Alex Cobb just carves them up in that ball game yesterday. And then all of a sudden the Rays here on Sunday jump out. First hitter, 1-0.
And the ground ball to short, bobbled. Hardy recovers, and the throw to first in time. So Jennings is the first out.
Let's take a look at the Baltimore Oriole defense as it lines up this afternoon in the outfield left to right. Morse, Jones, and Markakis across the infield third to first. Machado, Hardy, Roberts, and Davis. That Wieters will be behind the plate. Really, when you're looking at the Baltimore Orioles right now, if they have any hope of getting back into this wild card race, you firmly believe they've got to win today, and they have to win tomorrow and have a good final week.
Yeah, and the point you make about the time they got in from Boston here, and then that long extra inning game, the 18-inning game, everybody was tired after that, but they were a team that got in here very late to begin the series, right back tomorrow again. So this is a team that has every right to feel fatigue. Center fielder Jones handles the fly ball from Zobrist. So with 2 gone, DeJesus has given the Rays the lead. Yesterday, Alex Cobb gave the Rays a superb performance on the mound.
He was unbelievable. He had 2 walks in the first inning, pitched onto that little jam, and that was it. I mean, spotted the fastball well to both sides of the plate. The curveball, of course, was outstanding. The split, the changeup is always going to be good. And he pitched into the 9th inning. 12 strikeouts. How about that? And those 2 walks came in the first. After that, he was flawless.
Well, we've talked about him being a big game pitcher. Made the point yesterday.
I'm going to tell you something. That's a great argument. If it came down to a 1-game deal and you had all 5 guys available,
and that's great talent. You're talking about 5 quality. That ball is going to be foul. Oh my gosh, just foul.
And it's not a knock on anybody that they wouldn't get picked. Obviously, you got to go with 1.
Yep.
You'll see just how close this is. That call was the right call. But if you had to pick 1 guy for a must-win 1 game, I'm going to tell you what, Alex Cobb may be your guy.
Yeah.
I mean,
he'd get my vote.
Yeah, me too.
Yep.
Me too. If it came down to a win or go home, and you could pick, that would be the guy. I mean, he's just.
And that's not, as you point out, not taking the thing away from the other guys. That's great talent collectively.
No, because, the guys sitting on either side of him, Matt Moore and David Price would be just, they could go out there and throw a 2-hit shutout just as easily.
Here's how good they are. If you picked Cobb, any other team in baseball would pick either of those guys to oppose him.
That's right. That's absolutely right. Tell the team, we get first pick, we're going with Cobb. We got Price.
Yeah,
we got Moore.
Yeah. Davis will make this play unassisted to retire Joyce. Home run by David DeJesus to lead off the bottom of the first for the Rays. It came on a 10-pitch at bat, and the Rays lead 1-0. We go to the second with Danny Valencia, the DH, leading off against Romero. And he stays with the first pitch fastball. That's in there, strike one. Romero gave up the base hit to Manny Machado in the first, then got Jones on a fly ball to right. Got a double play ball out of Chris Davis. There's a pitch away, off speed with the change in the mid-80s.
Nice to get Romero through that first inning. That can sometimes be the toughest. Now that he's settled into the game, I can go to work. That is what anytime you're making your major league debut, especially a young player like this, those emotions, that heart is beating out of that shirt. You just want to go out there, have some early success, and calm the nerves.
When you think about it, a lot riding on, at least in his mind, and of course for the Rays, a lot riding on this one because they're in the middle of the race. Here's Romero, just 22 years old, out of the Dominican Republic. From modest circumstances, his dream is to get to the big leagues. There's a strike. Establish himself, help not only his immediate but his extended family. He's verbalized that in the past. It's one of the reasons that he has this ambition. So he carries that with him to the mound, as well as the load of this pennant race where the Rays are trying to win a wild card spot. He walks Valencia. So they try to put all that into proper perspective. Right now, let's get a little more perspective from Todd Callis. Todd?
Yeah, what's Joe Madden hoping for today? Here are his thoughts before the game.
You'd like to see he's capable, of the 4-5, even 5+ possibly. I would take 5. Take 5 with the lead is great, and then turn it on over from there. But a guy like this, I was around him a bit in spring training. He seems to be relatively calm in these kind of things, situations. Even in spring training, he showed that. If he's throwing strikes, man, he's going to be tough.
That was the big issue. Could he throw enough strikes today, guys? Back to you.
One strike to count to Matt Wieters. This one low. Fastball. Stopped by Lobaton. So leadoff walk here in the second.
Well, and that will be the big watch. The watch will be, what's his command going to be like? Is Baltimore going to be patient enough against him? I mean, this is a team that's an aggressive team. They like to swing the bat, get out there, and go to work. So that'll be an interesting play.
They've been at the bottom or near the bottom. Ground ball third. Johnson will have to go to first, skips it in, and gets his man there. Thinking initially about 2, but then had to settle for 1. And a nice pickup on the receiving end by Loney.
Yeah, just got his feet tangled up there, and he will take some good ribbing in the dugout when this inning is over. I'll guarantee you that. But this is a play up the line, backhand, and then right there, he just tripped over his own foot. That right leg clips the heel of the left foot. Watch it come up right there, and oops, he goes down. Now, to his credit, he gets up and does get the out. Yeah, he had designs on trying to start a double play there.
Ray's got a double play in the first, and immediately off the bat when he gloved that ball, you're thinking around the horn double play.
Well, especially when you factor in the fact that he tripped, went down, got up, still threw him out at first.
Yep.
Probably would have had a chance at it, although you had 2 long throws that would have had to be made.
1-0 the count to J.J. Hardy. There's a strike. Evan Longoria was a late scratch. He was in the original lineup, but scratched with flu-like symptoms. Longoria had been under the weather the last few days and scratched today.
Yeah, this is not the time of year you want someone to go down with, obviously flu-like symptoms, being sick, pump him full of liquids, and hope that he can come back and be ready to go tomorrow for the last week.
This ball away.
And with Evan Longoria, he has to be really sick.
Absolutely.
Like not being able to function. Because this is a guy wants to be in the lineup, wants to play third base, doesn't want to DH. He wants to be involved in everything. So if he's not, he must be down.
Yeah. I mean, there's a reason, because if he could stay on the field, he would. Myers is there to make this catch on the line drive. For the second out, Valencia still at second base. J.J. Hardy retired.
You even think of last year when he was hobbled with the hamstring and still, tried to come back probably a little bit too soon.
That's right.
And so it's just an opportunity for someone to step up. That's all. Rays have been doing that for years now.
Andy Romero making the start, now facing the left-handed bat of Nick Markakis. Outside. Markakis hitting .269. He has 10 home runs. Has not had the kind of extra base hit season the Orioles had grown accustomed to out of him. Two and 0. Markakis limited to just over 100 games last year. And he's had some hand issues. The hamate bone. He had that left thumb,
which may
pretty
contribute.
much shattered. And I was going to say that. You start having hand injuries, that's going to take some of that pop away from you. 3-1.
So much of a guy's juice, has to do obviously with leverage, but bat speed. And when you have tremendous bat speed and you're a strong guy, that's when you get balls that are just absolutely crushed and launched. But boy, it's all about getting the hand through the hitting zone as quickly as possible.
Pitch close, but it's ball 4, second walk of the inning.
You almost feel here too that Andy Romero is kind of going through a little hazing. As a rookie, a couple of very close fastballs in this inning have not been called. I don't know what was wrong with that.
Yeah, that's actually a perfect pitch down and away to the left-handed hitter. I think Joe Madden concurs by the looks of the expression on his face. Ground ball, second base. Off the bat of Michael Morse. Zobrist throws him out. The Orioles lead 2. Bottom of the second coming. 1-0 Rays. By Hyundai, new thinking, new possibilities. Toyota, let's go places. By the Tampa Bay Times, amazing stories. Only in the 2013 Pulitzer Prize winning Tampa Bay Times. And by Ram, engineered to move heaven and earth. Guts, glory, Ram. Rays with a 1-0 lead as we go to the bottom of inning 2, facing right-hander Scott Feldman. 6'7", 31 years old. Rays saw plenty of him when he pitched for the Texas Rangers. It was a slow curveball, and that's strike 1 to Will Myers. Myers shoots it into center. Well hit, going to be over the head of Jones to the wall. Myers in standing with a leadoff double in the bottom of the second.
Now another off-speed delivery there by Feldman. Starts him off with the slow curveball, and then Will Myers all over the next offering by Feldman. And that ball was hit hard enough that Adam Jones, who runs well, right there, looked like a slider that did not slide. And Myers gets into it out into right center, and just too much carry on that line drive. You see it right here. Jones, even with all his speed, not going to be able to get to that one.
I think that's Myers' first hit since he cut his hair. So it's good to know that he still has that pop, even though he did cut some of that hair.
He did, yes, he did.
Don't want him to lose his power.
No, listen,
We
Samson.
have a biblical story on our hands here.
Hey.
Here's James Loney. Foul ball up the right side. Yeah, that's a relief. See that extra base hit from Myers.
I'll feel better when one leaves the yard.
Yeah.
When he clears the fence, then I think we'll all take a deep breath and realize that it wasn't the hair. But that's a great start.
Let's see if Loney can get him home. Again, foul, moving George Hendrick a bit.
You
So
can see
Loney taking aim at George Hendrick.
And that's because of the pitch that Feldman's coming with, that cutter. Wet starts in the middle of the plate, a little cut in. So 85 miles an hour, get the head out, and you better believe George Hendrick all day today had better have his head on a swivel.
He can still move, we know that. Turn, nothing doing, back at second. Feldman was 6-11 a year ago for the Texas Rangers, with an earned run average a little over 5. He pitched pretty well for the Cubs, signing with them as a free agent before the deal that sent him to Baltimore. He was 7-6 over in the National League. And again, this was just foul this time. Loney trying to keep it fair, just inside the line. George conceding some ground there after these first 3 pitches hit his way in foul territory. Strike 3 call. He got it in there on the corner.
Well, you think about this. A lot of cutters breaking in, and James Loney, has hit a number of those fouled, and all of a sudden you see a ball come out of the hand that starts off in, and you give up on it. You're like, well, so used to him cutting in on your hands, you give up on it, and that one comes right back and catches the inner third. That's just a nice piece of pitching there by Feldman.
Skelly Johnson in at third base, hitting 7th. Pitch is down. Skelly, 16 home runs. Takes the pitch high. Johnson up in the count, 2-0. Kelly with Myers in scoring position. Johnson, as you recall, started the year getting some big hits with men in scoring position, and that average with runners in scoring position has sustained itself right now, 301. Conversation between Wieters and Feldman. Wieters had a well-deserved day off yesterday after catching all 18 innings of the game the night before. Two and one. There goes a man trying to steal third. The pitch is fouled up the right side. Well, Myers would have had it stolen. And that's one thing you can do against Feldman. Last year there were 20 stolen bases against him in 23 attempts. And this year 29 out of 32.
Yeah, that's open season.
Yep.
That is open season. We talk about, well, they'll run on this guy. They've got 15 stolen bases this year. 29. Only 3 caught saves. That has gotten better since he's been with Baltimore, obviously because of Wieters behind the plate, but still, take your shots.
And a cut and a miss on the curveball.
And you see how he adds and subtracts. The way that he worked Loney, cutters in, and then he freezes them on a front door sinker. And then the curveball at 72, and you see Kelly Johnson right there, just could not wait back long enough. Real good feel for pitching. Doesn't help, too, when you have Wieters back there who knows the Rays. Feldman, of course, has faced these guys quite a bit. But they can conspire. 2 big strikeouts.
Now Jose Lobaton trying to pick up Myers at second. 2 outs now. Roller out to second base off a curveball. Roberts throws out Lobaton. The Rays miss an opportunity and leave Myers at second. 1-0 through 2, Tampa Bay. One nothing Rays lead as we go to the third inning. The Rays with Eddie Romero on the mound, making his major league debut today. Right into our AT&T social media poll. Tweet your votes to @SunSportsRays. If you could could choose one Rays starter in a must-win situation, who would you select? TB1, David Price. TB2, Alex Cobb. TB3, Matt Moore. TB4, Chris Archer. Up to you if you could choose one Rays starter in a must-win situation.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm sticking around.
Yeah, that'll be great. That'll be very interesting.
Yes, it will. Put it this way, there really are no wrong answers.
Yep. But you got a great chance of winning with any one of those guys.
No question. That's great. That could be the poll question of the year, hands down.
Yeah, certainly in the category of most relevant.
Absolutely.
Right on.
Yep.
1-0 pitch to Roberts. He pulls it foul. 1-1. Veteran third baseman or second baseman. He's played all over the place, but primarily a second baseman through the years with Brian Roberts, and they're happy to have him back and healthy. Up the right side. Out of play. 1-2.
He brings so much to a team. I mean, he's switch hitter. Going to give you a good at-bat. Hits the ball all over the place. He's a pesky base runner. Doesn't run as much as he used to, but he's a very good base runner. Solid defense at second base. Veteran leadership. He is a difference maker, no doubt.
Tapper. Foul ball. The Rays and the Orioles going at it here at Tropicana Field. The Cleveland Indians are home against Houston. The Astros scored a run in the second. They picked up one in the fourth. And now the Indians, facing Eric Bedard today, have a run home in the fourth inning and a couple of men on base. Foul ball again off the bat of Roberts. Romero had a 10-pitch first inning, walked a couple through 20 pitches in the second inning. Ground ball, shortstop. Backhand picked by Escobar, and his throw in time. One away here in the third. Just a reminder, as you enjoy a cold one, to look forward to Miller time later in today's game, brought to you by Miller Lite. On that double play ball off the bat of Chris Davis, the Rays had Escobar positioned just right, as it turns out.
And that right there has to be the leader in the clubhouse by a wide margin.
Certainly out of the gate, you're right.
Well, unless this ends up being a 1-0 Rays victory, and then I go back to DeJesus.
Yeah, two exceptional things happening there, that double play and then the at bat by DeJesus, who worked a 10-pitch at bat and hit the 10th pitch out. Machado hits it a long way, but well fouled. Just taking a stroll down there, and that fan found a souvenir. That's timing.
May want to go pick up a Powerball ticket.
Foul up the right side this time. So it's a 1-2 count. Machado, who in the opening game of this series hit leadoff for the first time, back in the second spot yesterday, 0 for 4 with a walk. Singled to open this game today. That last pitch just missed a little outside.
Tried the corner and missed. Hey, there's changing eye levels, and then there's that.
Yeah. Here's the 2-2. Now it's a full count. And that's ball 4. So the third walk given up by Romero. So far what we've seen is what we have heard about Romero. The Rays rate him as a plus arm, and his issue is command.
And it's been on full display. We've seen a changeup, good changeup, Good fastball, good life on the fastball, late movement, but we've also seen the ability to miss the zone. And that's where, he's young,
and baseball experience.
Yeah. Last year he was a Charlotte Stonecraft. This year just a Montgomery Biscuit.
Down to third. Out at second. Safe at first, the call. Rays hoping to turn the around the horn double play, and that was close at first base.
I think you can give the credit to that man right there, Manny Machado, going in hard at second base. Long throw here by Kelly Johnson, and then Machado going in, and that really doesn't allow Ben Zobrist to step into that throw. Between Machado bearing down on him and the speed of Adam Jones, all arm on that throw by Zobrist, and doesn't quite get there in time. There's nothing you can do either, because if you do take time to step into that throw, Jones probably going to be safe, and Machado can snap that leg for you.
It's Chris Davis. Slow blocked by Lobaton. So 2 outs. Machado forced at second. Kelly Johnson to Ben Zobrist. Adam Jones at first. There's ball 2, and the pitch breakout, the real indicator of Romero. He's made 45 pitches, 24 strikes, 21 non-strikes. And right there is the issue reflected with command. 2-1.
And then he'll do that.
Yeah.
96 right up the side of the plate at your knees. And that's why you look at his stuff, his ability and willingness to use both sides of the plate, and you start to harness that command, and it has gotten better. You see that the sky's the limit for this young lefty.
And a pretty good pitch right there. 2-2.
Well, he's on that far third base side of the rubber, and that makes it a little bit easier for him to get to that side of the plate, away from the lefties and on the righties, and also it gives his fastball an opportunity away from the righties to really get good run. That lanky arm whip that he's able to generate, and he can start that fastball middle of the plate against the righty and let it just run to the outside corner from where he's at on the rubber.
Adam Jones, the runner.
See right there, a great shot at him. In fact, only half his foot on the rubber. He is utilizing that.
Runner goes, pitches a ball, throw down, going to be in time. Out at second base. Escobar putting the tag on Adam Jones. That retires Baltimore. We'll go to the Rays half of the inning. 1-0 Tampa Bay. Out indeed. Brought to you all season long by Hyundai, the Rays and the Baltimore Orioles in the third game of this 4-game series. The Rays battery, Romero and Lobaton hooking up for that caught stealing. The Rays have not been as successful as they would like to be in that situation, and as you well know, it's a combination effort by the pitchers and the catchers, so that's encouraging right there to cut down Adam Jones. Yunel Escobar, after the first pitch, chops to Hardy, and that's one pitch, one out. We'll purchase 4 or more full-price tickets to tomorrow's game on RaysBaseball.com and receive 10% off. The offer applies to any seating category, available online only. Some restrictions apply, so grab your friends and save at the last regular season home game of the year. For tickets and more information, visit RaysBaseball.com. David DeJesus. Slow curve in there for a strike. On the 10th pitch of the at-bat in the first, DeJesus gave the Rays an early lead.
And you can see where Wieters was set up. Feldman looking to come in on DeJesus. That ball stayed middle of the plate. DeJesus made him pay big time.
Nothing in 2, the count.
Boy, that pitch right there. Feldman's going to get that. That's going to be tough. That one run, Rays better make it hold up. That ball would look to be off the plate and down.
Pop fly into left. Lofted out there for Morse.
68 on the curveball, and that's what Feldman does. He's not going to beat you at the top of the velocity chart, but he will beat you down near the bottom, and that's what he does. He just continues to just jerk you around, get you leaning. Even right there, DeJesus, curveball strike 1, fastball strike 2, and then trying to wade back on that curveball, leaning out there, get you off balance. That's what he's looking for, soft contact.
Desmond Jennings looks at a strike. Desmond grounded out to the shortstop his first time, coming off yesterday's game. 4 runs batted in, a home run in the 5th and a triple in the 7th. He shoots this one into center. Jones on the run, off his glove. Jennings heads for 2, in there standing with a double. Desmond Jennings with a 2-out, 2-base hit. Now he's in scoring position, just off the glove of the Gold Glove center fielder Jones.
You might want to emblazon this into your brain. You're not going to see this very often. Adam Jones covering ground, a ball into the glove, but you could see it didn't go into the pocket. It hit the palm, and that's where things started to go awry. You catch that ball in the palm, and it's going to rattle. You're not going to be able to squeeze it there. That's why those outfielders have the big glove. They're almost like big butterfly nets. You want that ball in the pocket, in the webbing. It hits the palm, anything can happen.
Now Ben Zobrist with a chance to add to the lead. Opportunity comes with 2 gone. Zobrist had a run batted in yesterday. 1 of the 5. Jennings had the other 4. And the Rays 5-1 win. Ball, no strikes. Well, more and more people beginning to realize just how valuable Ben Zobrist is. He's a quiet guy by nature, humble by choice, but boy, does he bring it every day.
Tell me something that he can't do.
Yep.
Tell me something that he can't do on a baseball field. You may say pitch, and that's it. I don't know if I wouldn't put that past him.
Me neither.
Although I'd go with Fold before Zobrist.
Well, you could go lefty-righty.
It's true. Well, maybe Ben could throw it both sides just like he hits. Well, that's the thing. Switch hitter, productive from both sides. Infield defense, middle infield defense at both positions. Outfield, you know you can play him anywhere. You know he's going to work hard. You know he's prepared. I mean, he is everything that you would want as a general manager, an owner, a manager.
2 balls and a strike.
High character guy in the clubhouse.
Yeah, he's a guy who's not a big rah-rah guy, but he is a guy who will make himself available, very approachable for teammates.
That's why you love seeing him work with Escobar. I mean, 2 opposite ends of the spectrum. Not that Escobar is not that he's a bad guy. He's not a bad guy.
Yeah.
But he's a little bit more flashy, a little bit more out there. He's going to make it. Ben Zobrist's going to make a nice play. He may get a fist pump in the dugout. You know, makes a great play, and he's going to shoot a jumper from long range. They're fun to watch play together.
Catches the inside edge. Curveball on 3-1, makes it 3-2. Yeah, it's the perfect double play combination on a Joe Madden managed team. You got Escobar and Zobrist. Of course, that would be the double play combination.
Yeah. Well, and you can see, that's the other thing, you can see as Ben takes a walk right here. You can see Ben Zobrist's great defense. Here's your Toyota Trend. Ben Zobrist, this was the one hanging in on that double play where Adam Jones is catapulted by the bag right into his legs. The diving plays, the barehanded plays. I love the ground ball with Rodney on the mound, where he goes up the middle, clear on the other side of second base, and able to make the strong throw. And you can see he's 3rd in the league in fielding percentage at second base. Has become his home.
So Ben's at first on the walk. 2 men on. Here's Matt Joyce. Hop to the left side, shallow left. Morse coming in a hurry and gets there to make the catch. Rays lead 2. We go to the 4th. It's 1-0. Well, 1-0 Rays lead. On to the 4th. The Rays and the Orioles today. The Rays messenger bag, perfect for any professional on the go. The bag only available through the purchase of a Tampa Bay Times ticket tandem to a game in this Baltimore series with only tomorrow left. Buy yours before supplies run out. Purchase by visiting RaysBaseball.com/tandems. Chris Davis at the plate. He was up there when Adam Jones was thrown out trying to steal second base for the 3rd out of the 3rd. 1-1. Romero began with 5 first pitch strikes to the first 5 Oriole hitters. Since then, he's 2 of 8. Missing on the first pitch to Chris Davis in this at bat. Down to first it goes, and Loney is there. 1 away.
You know, how many times have we seen the Rays? You know who they are pinpointing in an opposing team's lineup, and they, more times than not, they not only, I mean, they really, it's unbelievable how they hold these guys down. And these guys can come in here so hot. Chris Davis actually absolutely destroyed this pitching staff in the first series of the year. And since then, they have had his number. And they do that all the time. So good at holding down the other team's top run producers. And guess what? When you do that, you've got a great chance of winning games and winning series.
When you think about the Rays' ability to do that, a chop to short by Valencia, and Escobar's throws there, it really is a tribute to not only the arms but the command that those pitchers possess.
That's it. You're not going to outstuff these guys.
Yeah.
From time to time you can. You've got to find the weakness, and you've got to be able to exploit it. And you can only do that with command. You know, the weakness is not he can't hit 95-mile-an-hour fastball. No, yes, he can. But 95 in the right spot, 88 in the right spot, a breaking ball a little bit short, you know, whatever it is. But you've got to be able to have command in order to exploit those weaknesses consistently. And that's what the Rays, that's what they have across the board.
Want to know the count to Wieters? It's fouled back. Chevrolet matchup at Wieters. For the year against the Rays, he's hitting over 300. That continues a career trend for him, and the low 200s against everybody else. Myers back to the track. That's got some carry, and he makes the catch. Had to make a little adjustment. Button hook back there, and Wieters is out number 3. 1-0 Rays, middle of run by David DeJesus in the game today and all season long. Tires Plus donates $100 to the Pediatric Cancer Foundation for every Tampa Bay Rays home run televised on Sun Sports. Rays facing Scott Feldman, the 31-year-old right-hander.
Doesn't he sound like one of the kids that would get you in trouble constantly when you were in school? Like, mom, dad, it was Feldman.
Feldman did it.
Right.
Yeah.
He's one of those kids.
All right. It was Feldman's idea.
Yeah, I'm going to have to get Mr. Feldman on the phone.
That's right.
Talk to him about his kid.
Yeah. Can't believe a kid of Mr. Feldman would do that. Here's Will Myers against Scott Feldman. Calling good fun.
Yeah, lighten up.
Yeah, 1 strike to count. One and one. Game 3 of this series. Indians scored 3 in the bottom of the 4th on Bedard, and they take a 3-2 lead. They're in the 5th in Cleveland now. Myers taps it foul. This is the 6th career start for Feldman against the Rays. He also has 6 relief appearances. He's 4-2 with a .213 lifetime against the Rays. And there's strike 3 called at the knees.
And Myers knew it. That was, again, a nice setup job by Feldman. He won't outstuff you, but sometimes he will outthink you and outsequence you. And this is what he does. With that fastball right there, and Myers.
Yeah, that's 89 miles per hour at the knees, but right down the middle.
And you know, listen, he sets it up, slow curve, he cuts, little changeup, take a little bit off, BP fastball.
And then here it is.
Yeah.
Strike 3 call.
Yeah, and you can't pull the trigger. And we know, listen, Will Myers is not going to go down looking very often.
Yep.
He's going to go down. He's going down taking a hack.
Curveball to start Loney. That's in there for a strike. The curveball normally in the low, sometimes mid-70s, and a couple of times we've seen sub-70, down around 68. Ground ball, first base. Davis steps on the bag. So 2 gone. 2 up, 2 down. It's going to get Kelly Johnson to the plate. And the shift is on for Johnson. And a strike call. First pitch curveball. One and one. Ground ball, 1 hop, grabbed by Davis. Feldman covers, finds the bag, and it's a 1-2-3 4th. We go to the 5th, 1-0 Tampa Bay.
1-0. We have a couple special guests with us. We have Matt Hoskins. He is the Executive Vice President for Tires Plus, and a special relationship Tires Plus has developed with the Pediatric Cancer Foundation. We have Melissa Helms, co-founder of the Pediatric Cancer Foundation, and we have the lovely Lucy with us as well. Matt, tell us a little bit about your special combination that you've developed with Pediatric.
So we found the Pediatric Cancer Foundation 5 years ago now, and we've been working with them on a lot of different levels. One thing, for our fourth year in a row, we've partnered with our friends here at Fox Sports, and we're donating $100 for every home run the Rays hit throughout this season. And being that the season is coming to a close, Melissa, it's our pleasure to give you a check in the amounts of...
Let's see what we have here. $20,000.
We're so grateful and so appreciative to Tires Plus. Over the last 5 years, they've come up with so many creative ways to help us raise money and really make a difference in the lives of kids.
And then little Lucy, you did a nice job there getting out of the way there, the check. Are you having a good time today?
Yes.
Look in the camera. Can you look in the camera for us? There you go, guys. Lucy, we got Melissa, we got Matt. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Back to you. Pediatric Cancer Foundation combining with Tires Plus, $20,000 in donation this season. Back to you.
All right, thank you, and thanks to Tires Plus, and it's a win-win situation. The Rays hit home runs and money raised for the Pediatric Cancer Foundation. J.J. Hardy has just popped out to Ben Zobrist to start the fifth inning. And Nick Markakis about to step in. Ball one to Markakis. Rays with Romero, the 22-year-old lefty, making his major league debut. He pitched almost the entire year for the AA Montgomery Biscuits. That's a foul ball that gets a part of Tim Welke.
Well, that caught him right in the mask. Flush. And he's saying right there, I'm okay.
Yeah, Mike Everett coming down the third base line to check with him, and Ron Porterfield comes out. Here's another look.
Look at an offset stance, and that catches him right in the mask.
The sounds of the game, and that's a tough sound right there, and a tough part of the game. And more people are more mindful of concussions occurring on just such foul balls directly off the mask of the catcher or the umpire.
You know what? We talked about Joe Mauer with Minnesota, but I think same thing with Doman. Catching. Both catchers for Minnesota. Now Doman is, he's been relegated to right field. How sweet is that mask, by the way? A matte black finish.
Yeah, you'd wear that around in public, wouldn't you?
I'd work out in that. That'd be kind of creepy, but
yeah, that's Brian Anderson right there. Nothing says Brian Anderson more than matte black and a mask. Umpire's mask.
I was going to say that sounded creepy.
3-1.
It's like a special knock to get into that place.
There's ball 4, too low. So for the second straight time, Markakis draws a walk. Where's Brandon Gomes in the bullpen?
Michael Morris.
Well, the scouting report has been right on the money. We've seen flashes of brilliance by Romero, well-located 95, 96-mile-an-hour fastballs, and we've seen the command be elusive at times. And that's going to bring Jim Hickey, pitching coach, to the mound. But overall, you got to love what this kid has done, the way that he's settled into this game nicely right now.
Well, when you think about the idea that his last start was on the 2nd of September.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
And here we are, the 22nd. He's making his starting debut the same date, of course, different years. David Price on the 22nd of September made his starting debut. And then a couple of years later, Matt Moore comes along and makes his starting debut on September the 22nd. Rays need a starter, and here's another hard-throwing left-hander, Romero, making his starting debut.
I got that information sent to me last night.
Yep.
And the little hair that I do have stood up on end. I'm like, really? The last 3 lefties on the same date?
Michael Morris in the batter's box, the left fielder. Pitch a little wide. 1-0. Well, there's the breakout. Look at that. 2008 Price. 2011, Moore. And today, Romero.
Similar lines all the way across, including this ball game.
Well, Joe Madden was saying before the game he'd be happy to get 4, love to get 5. That's what he got out of Price and Moore, 5 1/3 and 5.
You remember that start by Moore with all the punch-outs in Yankee Stadium. Double digits.
Yeah, 11 strikeouts.
Yep.
Morris fouls it out of play. 1 and 2. Yeah, I think the Rays feel if they could get 5 with the lead from Romero, that would be outstanding.
Then you start to go to these guys down here, that quality Rays bullpen. A lot of depth, a lot of quality depth, a lot of options for Joe to play matchups for the last 4 innings. That indeed is the case.
Wesley Wright joining Gomes. Fly ball, right center field. Myers on the run, reaches up and he's got it. He'll make a throw back toward first base, and getting back in there is Markakis. Myers running that one down. Stamping with a star for Will Myers getting back there.
Yeah, that may be the best play that we've seen Will make out in right field, and he did. He had to cover ground, a good beat, a good angle, reaches up, makes the catch, and then how about the throw back in? You better believe it.
Romero appreciative of that. Good defensive work by Myers for the second out. Here's Brian Roberts. Ground ball third. It gets away by Johnson into left. Markakis with an aggressive turn around second, but DeJesus to the ball quickly, holding Markakis right there. That'll be an error charge to Kelly Johnson. Moving to his left, could not come up with it. And so with 2 men on and 2 men out, here comes Joe Madden. And Manny Machado due up, and Madden's going to go to the bullpen. And Romero receiving congratulations from the infielders gathered around. Well, a great start to what the Rays anticipate will get a great career for this young left-hander, Enny Romero. He steps in and does a fine job today against Baltimore. Time for our Metro PCS call to the bullpen. Enny Romero in the Rays dugout after giving them a very big lift with this start. 4 2/3. He leaves with 2 men on. 70 pitches for Romero, and he would have been out of the 5th inning with a chance to qualify for the win had it not been for the error on the ball hit by Brandon Gomes in to face Manny Machado. And a cut and a miss on the first pitch. The slider. A strike the count. '22nd appearance for Gomes. And Joe Madden, big matchup right here in a one-run ball game in the 5th. Close, down, 1-1.
Very close. Very close. That was a good pitch there by Brandon Gomes.
You know, tough for Romero. Here's a chance individually to qualify for a win if he had gotten that out.
Yeah.
Got the ground ball to get it, didn't work out. And yet his demeanor coming off the mound had no remorse at all. Making that first start. Congratulated by his teammates and the satisfaction of pitching well today and helping this team. There's a strike. It's 1-2.
I think we're more upset than he is.
I think
chance
so.
Of getting, at least being in line for the win. But here's the deal: he did his job, and he did it very, very well. Pitched well enough to get through that 5th inning, which first start in 20 days would have been outstanding. That's all that Joe could have hoped for. That's what he said. Boy, 5 at the lead would be the best thing ever, and he gave you that opportunity.
Swing and a miss. Machado out on strikes. 2 men left on base. Gomes comes in to strike out the leadoff hitter Machado. So Romero works 4 2/3. Gomes gets the final out in the 5th, and the Rays retain the lead 1-0. Time for the Just for Men Mustache and Beard Play Like a Champ profile. How about this profile of young, hard-throwing left-handers on this date from 08 to 11, and then this year a combination of 15 innings of 1 earned run allowed on 9 hits.
Impressive. It goes back to the organizational philosophy that when we call guys up to play, to fill in, to take a start, to come to the big leagues for good, we expect them to be able to perform. They're not going to call you up before that. These guys have done just that.
Now Jose Lobaton takes the first pitch too low, a curveball downstairs, 1-0. Escobar next, and then the top of the order, David DeJesus. Down again with the change. 2 balls, no strikes. Rays got the run on the DeJesus first inning home run. Left Myers at second in the 2nd inning. And left mid at first and second in the third. Out 1, 2, 3 in the fourth. Ground ball right side. And a nice play, as it turns out, by Davis to lead Feldman.
That's always the thing. First of all, you got to be able to lead him on all those plays. But Chris Davis, ranging far to his right, backhanding that ball, moving away from first base and throwing back across his body to a moving target. He does a great job. Feldman never had to break stride.
It's like a little swing pass out in the flat right there.
Tis the season, Dwayne. Tis the season.
One out in the bottom of the fifth. Janelle Escobar. Strike away from him. Ball cutting to the outside corner. A run, 3 hits for the Rays off Feldman. He's given up 1 walk. And the fastball in for strike 2 call. And Escobar out on strikes. 4th strikeout in this game for Feldman. 2 quick outs here in the 5th. Here's your chance to win a jersey right off a player's back and other great prizes. And Rays home games. This one and one tomorrow. It's the annual Shirts Off Our Backs fundraiser. All proceeds benefit the Rays Baseball Foundation. For details, visit raysbaseball.com/community. David DeJesus, the difference in the game right now. Pitch outside. David 1 for 2 today, and 7 of 13 lifetime against Feldman. Machado well off the third base bag. DeJesus, look at that.
Not a complete shift, but they are definitely leaning that way.
And around his hands, close, 2-1.
That's that cutter. Just ever so slight movement. Keeps it on the same plane, and that's, he'll get the occasional swing and a miss, but more times than not, he just wants that ball to miss the barrel.
Indians have a 4-2 lead in the bottom of the 6th over Houston. The Astros replacing Bedard with Phil Umber. And the Indians have a threat with a couple men on base and nobody out. The Rays occupying the top wild card spot, a half game up on Cleveland. And there's strike 3 call. Comes back to the corner. 1, 2, 3 go the Rays. We're through 5. 1-0 Tampa Bay.
produced his homer in that first inning. And we have a couple tweets related to him. Let me share them with you. On Friday night, during that 18-inning marathon of a game, we started a new hashtag on our Twitter account at SunSportsRays. That hashtag was "This game is so long that." And here are a few of our favorites. De Jesus had his second coming. Amen. That's not Miller time. It's coffee time. The bad boys are past their bedtime. I just hallucinated Chewbacca in the Rays dugout. Amazingly enough, did not hallucinate. That was just Luke Scott delivering a little extra mojo there. See all the fun you guys are missing out on Twitter, Dwayne and BA?
Listen, Kelly, I hear you. There's a lot of fun to be had on Twitter, but there are some pitfalls. And let me tell you, I would find my way into it. It's a really bad idea. And I know a little something about bad ideas.
Well stated. One strike to count to Adam Jones. Sometimes you have to know when to leave well enough alone.
And I typically don't. But in this case, even I know better.
Did he go? He held up. Says Dan Polito. The count is a ball and a strike. Rays get 4 2/3 out of Romero, but those were perfect subject lines for an 18-inning game.
Hilarious. The second coming of De Jesus, yeah. That's hilarious. That is hilarious.
That's a foul ball by Adam Jones. It's 1-2.
I mean, that is so funny.
Yeah.
I love the amen at the end too.
Yeah.
Just to top it off.
Yeah, that's one of those games that you invest that much time, you have to win it because you're exhausted after playing it, and the Orioles were exhausted coming in, exhausted at the end of that game, and the Rays regrouping and winning yesterday 5-1, leading 1-0 today with a game left tomorrow. Same two teams tomorrow afternoon here at the Trop. That takes care of Adam Jones out on strikes.
Yeah, that's the exact pitch he got Manny Machado with. That changeup down and in.
Well, Chris Davis is due, and here comes Joe Madden. So with Chris Davis up, time for the Metro PCS call to the bullpen. With that, here's Todd Callis.
Dwayne, more on the celebration. There was a lot of humorous moments to that celebration. Chewbacca obviously being one of them, and then Gene Simmons showed up from Kiss. But how about the flip of the helmet by David De Jesus that hits Kelly Johnson square in the back? Here are their thoughts about that moment.
Double-handed tossed it, so I was able to get good full release, and it stood up there for a while, and I didn't even think about it coming down. It was pretty close of hitting me, but unfortunately drilled him pretty good, and you see his reaction on the screen when we watched the replay, and I'm sorry.
It was more of a surprise thing, and but yeah, it was funny. Seeing the video was pretty hilarious, and seeing Will come in, he saw it, the whole thing happen. He's dying laughing, and David actually heard me say "ow," and he's thought he elbowed me in the face, but it was funny. It was a good laugh. I mean, I was laughing immediately, so it's not like it was that painful.
Kelly said he saw it going up initially, and he originally thought fair catch, but then he said, "I'm too close to the celebration. I have to enjoy it." Guys.
That was another one of those moments. The facial expression by Kelly Johnson. He wants to be happy, but yet he just got drilled by that helmet right on his spinal cord.
Yeah, again, all's well that ends well when it comes to that, because that could have been way worse than what we saw.
Hey, you go 4-6 inches the other way and have it catch in the noggin.
Yeah.
Or how about the bill of the helmet coming down? Look at him.
Yeah, you don't want to ruin a good celebration with that. It was a great celebration for the Rays to win that one. Strike one to Chris Davis from Wesley Wright, third Rays pitcher. 2.
Well, this is the ball game that it's going to be. Joe Madden going to play matchups from here on out. He's got options. Good options.
One ball, 2 strikes with Davis up here. 1 out, bases empty. Danny Valencia on deck. And the Rays have right-handed action in the bullpen. And in regard to all of this, Alex Cobb gave the Rays some maneuverability today by the job he turned in yesterday. 8 1/3.
Yeah, that's what you're absolutely right. That's what makes these days possible. A guy stepping up in a big way, and Alex did just that. He shook off a shaky first inning and then gets into the 9th. And really, if a ball doesn't get lost up into the rafters, wires clanging off things, he maybe finishes that game. Wonder how the poll's going.
Did he go? Rays want the appeal. Yes, he did. Mike Everett rings him up down there at third base. Joe Madden's going to make a change. We'll go to L.A. for a Fox Sports 1 game break. Brought on to face the DH, Danny Valencia.
That's the challenge of the job that Wesley Wright had right there. You're that left-handed specialist guy, and Wesley can face righties too, but when you're brought in for just one hitter, and that was the idea there, boy, what a tough job. You don't have time to get into the groove of a ball game. You make one mistake, he gets a base hit, you're coming out of the game anyway, and you feel terrible about it. Well, that's tough. Short day of work, but a tough day of work.
Yep. And in this time of the year, more critical than ever.
Yeah.
And that's a big out.
Every one of them down the stretch here. Especially you're talking about this time of year, and how about a 1-0 game? No margin for error.
That's what managers do. They start counting outs and what's the best way, best matchup to get that out. Let's check in with Todd again. Todd?
Hi, we've got an update as well in the game involving the wild card team. The Houston Astros playing in Cleveland. Cleveland winning the first 3 games of this series, looking for the 4-game sweep. Michael Brantley, 3 for 3 on the afternoon. He chops one up the middle. That was the last batter Eric Bedard would face. That would make it a 4-2 game. Michael Bourne would add a 2 RBI triple in that inning. And here that is 6-2 at that point, and then the Indians would tack on another run. 7-2 their lead. They go for the 4-game sweep. Houston in danger of losing its 9th in a row. They head to Texas for 3 beginning tomorrow, guys.
Well, the Indians taking advantage of their schedule down the stretch, building a big lead right now over Houston. Here's the first pitch from J.D. Wright. Valencia takes a strike.
And the schedule taking advantage of the Houston Astros. They may not win another game this year. You had the Indians are going to go into Texas. Texas is thinking, got a sweep. Then they're going to go to New York. New York's got to, play New York.
Yep.
And New York's thinking, any chance got a sweep. It's a tough end of the year schedule.
Unless you're Cleveland.
Right. That's right. Well, they're going to go White Sox for 2.
Whoa, strike 3. Look at that curveball. Breaking pitch gets Valencia looking. 3 strikeouts in the inning from 3 different Rays relievers. 1-0 Tampa Bay. is brought to you by your Gulf Coast Honda dealers. Visit your Honda dealer for great lease and finance deals on fuel-efficient Hondas. By Coventry Healthcare, coverage so you can keep living the life you want. Go live. We've got you covered. And by Chevrolet. See your local Tampa Chevy dealer. Bottom of the 6th inning with the Rays holding a 1-0 lead. Denny Romero pitching 4 2/3. Then Gomes right and right. Bullpen has gotten 4 outs, all 4 strikeouts, 17 pitches, 13 strikes so far from the Rays bullpen. And Desmond Jennings begins the bottom of the 6th for the Rays. Bunting the ball, first base side. He's going to beat it out. Nice job by Jennings on the bunt up the first base side.
The only chance the Orioles would have had in that instance is Chris Davis to charge, scoop, and tag Desmond Jennings. And this is one of those new weapons that you hope Desmond Jennings sticks with, because it can be so effective in order to get him on base. Here it is. Bunt the off speed that's up in the zone, and you say Davis is not going to be able to get to it, and Feldman's going to have no shot. That's taking advantage of the placement of Chris Davis.
Yeah, we talked about that in the Texas series, because they have a couple of guys on that team that really take advantage of their ability to bunt. I mean, that's going to get you on base. Well, in the case of Andrus and Martin with Texas, maybe a dozen more times a year, at least.
Oh, and now that we talked about it earlier, you know the green light. He's going to have the green light against anybody, but he's going up against the pitcher here, 29 out of 32 on the season, and giving up stolen bases to the opposition.
1-0 the count on Ben Zobrist.
The Rays also have the lead. That's where they tend to be more aggressive. Always aggressive, but they'll take it to another level when they're out in front.
So they'll be trying to get Jennings up there. Give the middle of the order a chance to drive him home. Pitch away. Ben up in the count, 2-0. Again, it's outside. 3 balls, no strikes. Right-hander Scott Feldman. He's got their run on the home run from David DeJesus to open the first. Rays had not had a base runner since Zobrist walked with 2 outs in the 3rd until the bunt single to open the 6th by Desmond Jennings. Chopper, that's a foul ball. Davis in fair territory, but the ball was in foul territory, and that's what counts. You see Desmond Jennings before he left the bag, not believing. Yeah, he's not going to believe the defender out there.
No, you do not want to get deked. So yeah, you wait till
J.J. Hardy, and Hardy goes, "Hey, go ahead." You know, Desmond's going to be looked at here going down the line after that bunt. When he pulled up, there was a slight little limp there, and Joe Madden wants Desmond to be honest with him here about how he feels. And watch it right there. And he's going to come out of the game. I mean, this is a crucial time for a base runner to be 100%.
Yeah, no question about it. And you hope it's as minor as it can possibly be, because you're not going to mess around with Desmond Jennings' legs. That's why Joe's going to get him out of there right now.
And you know, sometimes a base runner like that, he can feel something and have it work its way out. But if it doesn't after a couple of pitches, and in this case a full count on Zobrist, then the Rays decide to make a change here.
Also, he never attempted to steal either. He figured that was going to be.
There goes Sam. Pitch is fouled. He's not waiting around.
No, and that tells you all you need to know. That Desmond was not feeling 100% because Sam Fuld, he comes springing off the bench and he's gone.
You know, there's a situation as critical as it is. Desmond's not going to turn and go, hey, take me out. That's not the point. The guy wants to stay in the game and thinks that he can continue. But the Rays do make this change for the better now in terms of having a healthy runner over there. There goes Fuld. Pitch thrown into the dirt. It's going to skip to the backstop. Fuld's going to go to third, and there's no play there. First and third with nobody out.
Boy, how about that? Heads up by Sam Fuld. So many times when that happens, base runner slides into second base and then doesn't have time to get to third. Full count, breaking ball, bounces. You see Sam peeked in, and that's why he was able to keep his feet, hit second, and head to third.
Yeah, that's going to be a walk and a wild pitch. So Zobrist walked, and Fuld would have gone to second anyway, even though he was breaking. So he moves up on the walk and goes to third on the wild pitch. There's Matt Joyce. A big opportunity presented here by the Rays. Joyce lifts the fly ball into left. Morse back to catch it. Tagged by Fuld. He's going to score. The throw will be to second. And the Rays get their second run.
Immediate dividends. Get Sam Fuld in at first base. He heads up, takes third, and then Matt Joyce able to drive him in with a fly ball to left. That's a big run.
So the Rays do pick up another run. Zobrist remaining at first. No chance for Morse to make a play on the speedy Sam Fuld. So a run in the first and a run in the sixth. Will Myers. It was a double and a strikeout. Zobrist draws the throw. You know, the Rays really had not had much of an opportunity to run on Feldman. They had the home run from DeJesus, a double by Myers, another double by Jennings until this inning when Jennings bunted his way on. Old running for him. Now Zobrist at first, and he's off. The pitch is a ball, and the throw is not in time. A stolen base for Ben Zobrist. That's number 11.
Well, that's a case right there. A better throw by Wieters, and they probably get Ben. But the throw kind of hangs out the second base side of second. You see right there, Roberts, and that was still close. But yeah, if that throw's on line,
ooh, I think they got it.
He may have gotten him. I saw a pant leg move.
Yeah. And you know, I think in that case, Roberts screened the umpire from seeing the tag. So the Rays get a man in scoring position and a break on the call in, and look where Roberts is when he tags. And I think Dreckman was looking for the bag and the hand on the bag.
Yeah, well, it didn't look like his head was focused at all on the tag. You're right.
Curveball and a miss by Myers.
But you could see the tip of that glove caught the pant leg of Ben Zobrist clearly. flag. Throw it out.
Next year.
In a delay right now.
Hot shot, base hit into right. One hop to Markakis. Zobrist will have to stop. The ball hit hard. Too hard for Zobrist to score. First and third.
And the Rays starting to open it up here a little bit offensively. Another nice job by Myers shooting that ball the other way, and just way too much steam on it.
Yeah, Myers' hair's starting to grow back full now. He's 2 for 3. Hitting again for the first time since the haircut.
We let that ball get into the zone and then just shoot it with some authority the other way.
So the Rays with a run already home and a chance for more with James Loney due up. TJ McFarland up. And a visit on the mound as the Orioles gather around the hill. Bill Castro out there. Evan Longoria having a late scratch because of flu-like symptoms, something that he'd been battling for the last few days.
Well, the 18-inning ball game, the quick turnaround, all of that taking its toll for him not to be in the lineup. But, you know, who knows? Maybe he gets a big pinch hit appearance. Could do some damage. So far, the Rays have not needed him today. Getting it done on the mound.
James Loney. The pitch from the right-hander Feldman is too high. Loney called out on strikes in the second, grounded out to first in the fourth. A popper into shallow left, going to fall for a base hit. Zobrist scores, and the Rays make it 3-0. Well, you don't have to hit it hard to get the job done, and Loney hit the ball sharply a couple times. Just drops this one into short left for an RBI single.
And here it is. The Rays starting to pour it on now. That ball just kind of gorfed. Perfectly placed.
Three runs, 6 hits.
Just a little wedge.
Oh, here's Kelly Johnson. Kelly 0 for 2. Out in front of the breaking ball. He struck out on a similar pitch back in the second. Grounded out to first in the fourth. Ground ball, right side. Diving stop Roberts. His throws to first. That retires Johnson with Myers advancing to third and Loney moving into second.
Yeah, nice play by Brian Roberts to just keep this in a 3-run deficit. That undoubtedly would have led to another Rays run if this gets by him, and this almost does. See how he had to extend to his left, make a nice play, and throw from the knees.
Jose Lobaton. A base hit here by the Rays catcher would be very big. Pitch is a strike on the inside part of the plate. There's Peralta up in the bullpen. 1-1. Rays have taken the first 2 games. The first one in 18 innings, 5-4, and then coming back yesterday to take a 5-1 decision. They had 2 wins in a span of 14 hours. One. Foul ball back. The curveball up a little bit. It's a ball and 2 strikes. Three runs, 6 hits for the Rays. Another hit could give them 2 more. And there's strike 3 call. Lobaton caught looking, retiring the side. But the Rays, in an inning started by a bunt single, scored 2 runs. They come up with 3 hits, lead 2, and have built a 3-0 lead. For 2014 ticket plans, establish seniority today and be in line for priority upgrades and exclusive benefits, including the opportunity to purchase 2013 postseason ticket packages. Call 888-FAN-RAYS or visit RaysBaseball.com. Sam Fold stays on to play center field after pinch running for Desmond Jennings, who appeared to come up what appeared to be a slight injury, but something that would have slowed him down a bit. Jamie Wright facing Matt Wieters. Fastball is outside. Hardy next, and then Markakis. One. Two and one. Jamie came on. He got Valencia on a curveball looking. In the top of the 6th. He's beginning the 7th. Wieters fouls it. 2-2.
Jamie Wright, he's got one of those arsenals too that can confound you. And a lot of confidence going right now. Good sinker, good cutter, especially to the lefties. Good breaking ball. We've already seen that on display this afternoon. Can hurt you a lot of ways. Same with the guy at the plate.
There's a ground ball. Kelly Johnson takes care of that. So Wieters retired, hitting into the shift, one away.
And look at this. How about this get up from Jamie Wright? 18 innings, going Gene Simmons on you, baby. I got to tell you, Dwayne, I'm not a big concert guy at all. But I've seen them. I've seen them in their makeup 5 times, and it's outstanding.
You would go for that again, wouldn't you?
I would. I'm going to keep touring. Try to find my way there.
There's J.J. Hardy. How many major league dugouts do you think you're going to see that in?
1.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
You see it in St. Petersburg, home of the Tampa Bay Rays.
Yep. Under the direction of Joe Madden.
I'll tell you what, there's another dugout potential.
Hardy lifts a fly ball to right. Myers in line to make the catch. 2 gone. Got to go to game break. Fox Sports 1 in L.A. Thank you very much for the update. And here at the Trop, the Rays have a 3-0 lead. Top half of the 7th inning with Nick Markakis hitting for Baltimore. 2 outs and the base is empty. Pitch is outside, 1-0. BA, you had another thought on where we might see Kiss in the dugout aside from the Rays dugout.
You may have seen it in the Wright State University Raiders dugout. Anywhere from 90 to 93, circa 1990 to 1993.
There you go.
Real good chance. I remember playing a game, AAA, with the Indians. We were, Buffalo. We're playing in Louisville. Coldest game to date I can ever remember being involved in. Even that World Series game where, the wind chill was 18 degrees. And remember sitting on the bench, freezing because we had to be out on the bench. There was no upstairs, and singing Kiss songs to keep us warm. One of the best memories I've ever had of professional baseball.
All those minor league days of years gone by. 1-2 pitch. Chop right side.
That off the ground.
Handled by Loney. 1-2-3. Orioles up and down in order, and the Rays lead 3-0. Time for the 7th inning stretch, presented by Hyundai. This game plan working out right down to the middle of the 7th inning, as Joe Madden had hoped. Maybe even better. Rays pitching allowing 1 hit. Eddie Romero gave up a leadoff single to Manny Machado. He worked 4 2/3. Gomes 2/3. Wesley Wright a third. And Jamie Wright has an inning and a third. The bullpen 7 up and 7 down with 4 strikeouts. Have a look at Jamie Wright. You know, in all of these years of Jamie Wright's career, he has not been in a postseason game.
Yeah, how about that? How about that? I mean, I think this is 17 or 18 years in the big leagues. And
well, 4 up, 4 down out of the bullpen. He's had a good month of September.
He really has. He's been coming on. I mean, basically, he's ramped it up since spring training. As spring training went on, he got better and better. And as the season has gone on, he's gotten better and better.
Yunel Escobar will open the 7th inning for the Rays. Takes a strike. Escobar's grounded out and struck out. It's 1-1. Strikes, curveball with the break, and then certainly an off-speed pitch for him. At 74, about as hard as he throws it. We have seen him below 70 on the curveball. And he comes right back with one at 69, and a big cut and a miss by Escobar. So he gets it with a curveball. Strikeout number 7 for Feldman. Let's take another look at the AT&T social media poll with your votes to @SunSportsRays. If you could pick one Rays starter in a must-win game, who would you choose? TB1, David Price. TB2, Alex Cobb. TB3, Matt Moore. TB4, Chris Archer. Nice to have a selection like that. We'll get our answers on Rays Live, the postgame. 1 out here in the 7th inning. Top of the order due up. Rays about to go through their order for the 4th time. And Buck Showalter is going to change pitchers. The left-hander Brian Mattis will take over, and with the pitching change, Sean Rodriguez comes off the Rays bench to pinch hit for David DeJesus. DeJesus opened the first with a home run, and now Rodriguez takes the first pitch from Mattis here in the 7th. Strike one. Two fastball. Three, 6-1 for the Rays. 0-1-0 for Baltimore. Upstairs. Darren O'Day up in the bullpen. Mattis pitched 2/3 of an inning in the game Friday. At least I think it was still Friday when he pitched, as opposed to Saturday morning in that extra inning game. It went 6 hours and 54 minutes. Swing and a miss. Sean Rodriguez out on strikes. So 2 outs here in the 7th inning. Let's check in with Todd Callis. Todd, you've got something on Desmond.
Yeah, I remember that last at bat. This would be Desmond's spot in the lineup right here. Sam Fold will get his first at bat. Last at bat, that little push bunt up the line. Here's another look, and you guys picked it out. It was about 2/3 the way up the line right here, where you will see just a little bit of an easing up as he gets to the bag. He has tightness in his left hamstring. He is day to day, so he leaves the game with tightness in his left hamstring, guys.
He left in deference to that injury. Sam Fold pinch ran for him and scored a run in the 2-run 6th.
And hopefully it's not something that lingers. You don't want to mess with hamstring injuries, and you certainly don't want it to linger because, well, number one, what Desmond gives this team and how hot he is right now. Yep. If you take into account today's game and his last 5 games, he's 9 out of 18. Do the math. That's a 500 average. 5 of the 9 hits have gone for extra bases. 4 of the 5 games have been multi-hit games, saving his best for last.
0-2 lifted toward the left field line. It's Morse just in foul territory, and the Rays are out in the 7th. We go to the 8th. 3-0 Tampa Bay. At Tropicana Field this afternoon, and here's what's coming up on Rays Live, presented by your Gulf Coast Honda dealer. Monday matinee, which will be the final home game of the regular season, and on the mound it will be Chris Archer for the Rays against the left-hander Wei-Yin Chen. Coverage begins at 2:30 tomorrow. Evan Longoria, who was a late scratch from the Rays lineup because of flu-like symptoms, is in there defensively here in the 8th. Sean Rodriguez, after hitting, stays in the game and plays left field. And on the mound, Joel Peralta is the 5th pitcher of the day for the Rays. See his numbers in September. It's been a little bit of a struggle for him after a very solid August. Peralta faces Michael Morse here in the 8th. A strike. Peralta pitched in Friday's game. A 1-2-3 perfect 8th inning in that game. On in the 8th today. Lifted into short right. It's Myers keeping his eye on that ball and making the catch. 1 out. Brian Roberts. Roberts 0 for 2, reaching on the error in the 5th inning. Short is on the bat. Pitch is a strike.
Well, the struggles of Joel Peralta here in September, understandable. He's been used an awful lot. I mean, over the last 3 years, nobody's been used more. And you see that the pitches were, there was not the normal finish that you would see on a breaking ball, rolling a little bit, not the same finish on the fastball. I'll tell you what, these last couple of times out, he's been looking better and better. A little bit more crispness to the heater. The split has been doing what it normally does. He's such a big part of this team and their success.
Yeah, we've talked about it before. I don't know if there's a guy on this team who's more the heart of the team than Peralta would be, which is unusual because you don't associate that with, number one, a bullpen guy or a setup guy, which basically he's been. But he has been special on this club.
You don't have that bona fide clubhouse leader. And, you know, it's almost there for the taking. And Peralta is such a great personality, always upbeat, always positive, a kind word for everybody.
Line drive. It's caught by Zobrist. A sinker out there. And a backhanded catch by Zobrist.
And he tried to get Brian Roberts with the little speed-up rules. You see that little look on his face right there, like, ooh, it almost backfired on me. And he almost caught Brian Roberts in between right here. Watch as he comes back, comes set, and he's going to go right into the motion. Didn't fool Roberts, but nice play by Ben.
Two outs in the 8th. Now Manny Machado. Into right field. That's going to hang up and be caught by Myers. Opposite field. Soft liner. 1-2-3 go the Baltimore Orioles. 3-0 Tampa Bay. Rays lead 3-0. We go to the home half of the 8th inning. This copyrighted telecast presented by authority of the Tampa Bay Rays may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The descriptions and accounts of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Tampa Bay Rays. Ben Zobrist in here. Leading off the home half of the 8th. Brian Mattis still out there on the mound. Chris Dickerson in the game in the left. Mattis finds a strike. Two and one. Matt Joyce is due to hit next, but Tim Beckham is on deck. Ground ball to third, picked up by Machado. His throw to first retires Zobrist. Now Beckham will hit in the place of Matt Joyce. Joyce drove in a run with a fly ball in the 6th inning, otherwise 0 for 2. Orlando Rodney up in the Rays bullpen. That's going to be it for Mattis. Buck Showalter out. He'll go to the bullpen and will return after this. On the right-hander Darren O'Day, and with that Beckham's going to be lifted. Beckham had been announced to hit for Joyce. Luke Scott will hit in the place of Beckham, matching up against O'Day. 66th appearance for O'Day.
Now that was going to be a tough matchup. Tim Beckham on O'Day and his arm angle. Really sidearm, maybe even a little bit lower than that. Going to sweep the slider, sink the fastball.
One out, bases empty. The shift is on for Luke Scott. All no strikes. Luke finished the 18-inning game, playing first base the other night. Ground ball to the right side, and that's Roberts making the play. 2 outs. Will Myers will face the side-arming right-hander. Will has doubled and singled. Average up over 290 now. 292. Rays got a run on the first and 2 more in the 6th inning. Ball 1 outside. One and one. Wrap-up game tomorrow, the final game of the regular season at home. We'll be with you at 2:30. Chris Archer will be on the hill for the Rays. One and 2 the count to Myers. Chris, he's coming off the 6 innings he worked against Texas in a game that went 12 innings. Rays eventually won it 4-3 and no decision, so he'll be after his 10th win of the year tomorrow. And there's strike 3 called. 1-2-3 go the Rays. We're headed into the 9th inning of this one with Fernando Rodney ready. 3-0 Tampa Bay. Time for Fernando Rodney to enter the game in the 9th inning with the Rays holding a 3-0 lead over the Baltimore Orioles. 67th time for Rodney. 5-4 after his 36th save of the year. He'll be facing Adam Jones, Chris Davis, and then the DH Danny Valencia is due up. Well, Eddie Romero made his major league debut, worked 4 2/3, and since then, the bullpen 10 up and 10 down. In fact, the collection of those 4, 35 pitches, 27 strikes.
That's ridiculous. These guys, I'll tell you what, picking the right time of the year to be on point. And I'll tell you, this series. You know, after David Price came out of that game and the bullpen took over and ate up the last 13 innings, boy, oh boy, Ray's pitching has been deadly against this Baltimore lineup.
Fastball from Fernando Rodney, too high. 1-0 to Adam Jones. Baltimore with one hit. That was a leadoff single to start the game for Manny Machado. Way out in front of the changeup. It's 1-1. Romero got ahead of Machado, 2 strikes with fastballs, and then he hit a fastball into right field. That's been it. A base hit and 3 walks for Baltimore today. And a chopper to first. Rodney's going to have to cover and take the throw from Loney. 1 away.
Nice play there by James Loney. That ball chopped into the ground. He's going to make a decision. Do I want to charge, stay put, or back up and get a better hop? He's got his pitcher coming. He backs up, takes the nice hop, and a good feed.
1 away in the 9th. It's Chris Davis. Cleveland well out in front of Houston. Houston batting in the 9th inning at Cleveland. That's 9-2 the Indians over the Astros. Rays start the day with a half-game lead in the wild card race. Chris Davis takes it low. Davis grounded into a 1-6-3 double play in the first on a deflection from Romero to Escobar. Ground out to first in the 4th and a strikeout in the 6th inning. Another strike. Change up. 1-1. Reaching for that change. A ball, 2 strikes. A 1-2 count to Davis. Rodney strikes him out with a fastball. He hits 99. 2 up and 2 down.
Oh my. How about coming after the changeups and then all of a sudden he's going to rear back and light up the gun. Perfect spot. Elevated, in on the hands.
Two outs with the bases empty. Danny Valencia. Little tapper, foul ball, strike 1. A 3-0 ball game. The Rays pitching staff collectively today after shutout number 16. Ground ball headed toward the middle. That's going to go through and a base hit. So the first hit for Baltimore since the leadoff single by Machado. Then we'll get Matt Wieters up there. Rays Live, the postgame presented by Checkers, follows immediately after our coverage. That will include Joe Madden's press conference. Bullpen had retired 12 in a row before the base hit up the middle. Wieters looks at a pitch high. Indians have just beaten Houston 9-2. So that's a final from Cleveland. Wieters misses a change. Texas and Kansas City. No score. That game's in the bottom of the 8th inning. And a strike to Wieters, who looks at a changeup this time. Crowd of 28,974. Looking for the final out. What a job turned in by Romero, 22-year-old lefty. Got the call from the minor leagues. Rodney trying to finish it. Low, blocked by Lobaton. 2-2. Today the first start by Romero since the 2nd of September. Pitching most of the year at AA Montgomery. He gave the Rays what they needed. 2-2. Runner goes and the pitch is fouled. He'll do that all over. Might have to lobby for another rule change. You know, the other day, 3 innings for Matt Moore.
Yeah.
Pitched well. Pitched way more than anyone else in that rain delayed game. Didn't qualify for the win. Here's Romero pitching 4 2/3. Actually got a ground ball that would have been 5, but it was an error. 4 2/3. Bullpen's been fabulous, but no one has pitched as many innings nearly as you would expect as Romero did in this game. Not going to qualify for the win.
I'm all for it.
Yep.
I say we rewrite the record books whenever it suits us. No, you're right. That ground ball, that would have been the 5 innings with a 1-0 lead.
Yeah.
Absolutely right. What a job, though, by Romero. No question.
2-2. Swing, and just a little bit of that one foul. Lobaton could not hang on. That close to ending it. Up in the heel of that mitt.
Really nothing there to squeeze it with either. Try your best.
The count. Here it is. Ooh, down a bit. That one at 100. Some low heat right there. Take a look at this.
Now Matt Wieters 6'5". That ball down.
Valencia taking second base on indifference. Now 3-2 to Wieters. Ground ball foul.
Tell you what, this is quite an at-bat here by Matt Wieters, fighting off some nasty pitches from Fernando Rodney.
Well, here's the deal. He's trying to get aboard to get Hardy to the plate, who would represent the potential tying run. The Rays don't want to see that. Two outs. The 3-2 again. High fly ball up the right side. On the run is Myers, and the ball hits upstairs and deflects off. It's in play, and the run is going to score. It hit one of the rings and not one of the back rings, and so that means as it deflected out, it was still in play. Myers headed toward the line trying to catch it, and the ball hit one of the rings and deflected back towards shallow right. So the game will continue. Valencia scores, and winding up at second is Wieters.
How unfortunate. I mean, this is, you know, obviously these are the ground rules here, and this is what you deal with all season long. You get down to these crunch games, and what could have been the final out, a pop-up, 2 guys converging, and you're playing arena baseball. It's bouncing off things. Dropping in for a double.
Now here's Hardy, and the potential tying run is at the plate. A strike call to Hardy. Well, the catwalks come into play, and that ball still in play. As it changed directions, you can see in the replay there, Ben Zobrist pointing back toward where it appeared to be headed. Goes as a double for Wieters. 1-1. Well, Rodney has to regroup out there and get this final out again.
The most important thing, put everything that happened, that just happened, you got to put it behind you. Go to work on here on J.J. Hardy. Get out of this with a win. That's the most important thing.
Fly ball, left center. Sam Fold. Rays win it. 3-1. The Rays knock off the Baltimore Orioles. What a job. Eddie Romero starting this game, giving the Rays 4 2/3, handing it to the bullpen, and another great job by this Rays bullpen. They've taken the third straight game from the Baltimore Orioles. Rays have now won 8 of their last 11 and remain a half game up in the wild card chase. Today notching their 86th victory. 3-1 the final. Cleveland keeping pace with a victory at home over Houston. And the Rays defeat the Orioles. They have wins of 5-4, 5-1, and 3-1 over Baltimore in this series, with one home game left in the regular season, and that will be tomorrow afternoon. Romero worked 4 2/3, followed to the mound by Brandon Gomes, Wesley Wright, Jamie Wright, Joel Peralta, and Fernando Rodney. We assume that Gomes will get the win. And a save for Fernando Rodney. The 36th save of the year for Fernando Rodney. Great job by Eddie Romero, and Todd Callis standing by with a young left-hander right now.
You're right, Dwayne. Congratulations, first of all. How did you feel out there in your Major League debut?
I feel good. The first inning, I little nervous, and then I throw first pitch. That's it. I can throw a strike, and my second pitch is good.
How much did Lobaton help you through each inning? Did you guys talk a lot in between innings?
Yeah, they hit me a lot. They say me throw the first pitch a strike and the breaking ball over the plate, and that's it. You have fun.
Been a couple of crazy days for you, right? You were in the Dominican when you got the phone call?
Yeah, I am Dominican. I, with my wife and my mom, sit down, and my agent called me, hey, you have 1 hour going to the airport, and quickly go to the airport and take the flight.
You took a picture before the game of your Major League Baseball jersey, your Rays jersey. You said it was a dream come true. Do you feel like this is the end of a big, long minor league road and your dream has been fulfilled?
I think yes. This is my first time here. I pitching good, very good, and I feel good, happy today.
You have a lot to be proud of. Nice job today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Guys, back to you.
Say it.
Well, that's a great interview there to give you the sense of the moment for Eddie Romero and what this means for him.
That is awesome. How about him hanging out down the Dominican?
Yeah.
Get the phone call from the agent. You got an hour. Get to the airport. You're going to the big leagues.
So a great day for that young left-hander and for the Rays, knocking off Baltimore 3-1. We'll return after this.